So, it's been quite some time since I've tried this, probably 10 years, but I'm going to have a crack at making my own sausage. I got some ground beef, it's about 500 grams, ground pork, about 450. Going to mix those two together. That's roughly a pound of each, that's good enough to know. I picked up some sausage casings last weekend at one of the local Italian grocers. The Castro's, if you're here in Ottawa, if you happen to be. They sell several different kinds of casings. I got some various things here. I want to put some spices in the meat, mix it all up. I'm going to use my KitchenAid to mix it. I've got here's some red onion that I dried in the fall. And I'm going to make some onion powder out of it in my thing here. Oh, it still smells just fabulous. I'm going to make onion powder out of that. I'll probably add some summer savory, some thyme. I think I'm going to add some Ready Cure, which is basically salt with sodium nitrite in it. Nitrites, you know, I don't mind using them at this point anyway. I'm just experimenting with them a bit. I don't mind using them as long as I know exactly how much I'm putting in. I've read up on it and so forth. This stuff, Ready Cure, is about 1% sodium nitrite. And I would guess you'd use about a teaspoon per pound. But I might use a little bit less than that. We'll see. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make some onion powder. So here's my dried onions. I made those in my food dehydrator. They're actually really yummy. I'm going to make some onion powder. I'll just dump a bunch of that in there. My little mini chopper. Put the lid on. Oh, those onions are just fabulous. My goodness. I've made soup. I've used these for making soup. Just fantastic. Actually, I might as well do the whole darn thing. I'll do the whole darn thing. Make onion powder. Probably have more use for... Look at that. A beautiful dried onion ring. Gosh, that's good. Nothing but onions. Alright, let's see where we get. That should be pretty good at this point. I'll put it right back in that same jar. Oh boy, it did make a good powder out of it by the looks of it. Alright. Yeah, it made a fine powder. There's a few larger chunks in there, but even the largest ones aren't ginormous or anything. It's mostly a nice onion powder. So, and that's onions from a local farm, Rochon Farms actually, as I recall. Only made, that whole jar was full of dried onions, so that would be about 125 milliliters. Oh man, smells so good. Alright, so I got my onions. Now a lot of people when they make sausage, the advertising thing is there's no fillers or binders or whatever. You know what? Actually, rolled oats for a filler in sausage is pretty good, if you ask me. Just a little bit. I haven't made this in a long time, but you know, I use a little bit of that when I'm making hamburger patties or whatever. It helps bind it together, hold it together. It's good for you. You know, there's no question about that whatsoever. Don't be afraid of it. So I'm going to mix a bit of rolled oats. I'm going to mix some flour. That was rolled oats, and this one is flaked barley. I'll mix about the same amount of each. And then I'm just going to make flour out of it. And I'll use like I don't know, a few tablespoons of the flour or something like that. We'll see. And this will clearly be onion flour because it's still got the onion in it. So another thing I've got here, this is a bit of an aside, I'll get to that later. So here's my, there's my oats and barley mixed. Yep, that is just fine. I should find something to put it into. There. Alright, stuff it in there. I think we're probably done with that mixer for the moment. Just set that aside. Put that back up here. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We are going to take some various ingredients and mix them up here in my KitchenAid. Alright, so got my mixer. I'm using ground beef. A lot of people make sausage. Of course, they grind it themselves. I'll get into doing that, certainly. At the moment, I'm going to keep it simple. You can mix this with your hands if you want it. I'm lazy, so I'm going to mix it in my mixer. There's about a pound of beef. It's 500 grams actually, close enough to a pound. And then about a pound of ground pork. Pork is what most people make sausage with. I wanted to use some beef, so I'll just show you actually. This is pretty lean beef. This is from my farmer Gord from Sapphire Farms. His beef is fairly lean. And sausage, you actually need some fat in it. From what I've been reading, you need about 20% fat. If you want low-fat food, don't eat sausage, don't make it. This pork is looking to me like it's probably not got enough fat in it, even though pork is fairly fatty. This is from my other farmer, Bruce, a guy that I used to work with at Nortel. He still actually does, he still works in high tech, and he does some farming on the side. That's not going to be enough fat. So as you may recall, I do a lot of fat rendering, and here's some fat that I rendered in August of 2008. Some pork fat that I rendered and canned up. It's been in my basement ever since. This is actually, you can see at the bottom, there's a lot of dark stuff. That tells me that this is actually smoky fat. And that's actually pretty good considering what I want to do here. I want to make some sausage that's got some smoke character to it without smoking it. So this is actually fat that I rendered from pork cuts that I put on my smoker. I trim the fat away, render it, and can it. So it should be, I'm guessing when I open that up, that I'm going to get some really nice smoke smell here. Yes sir, yes sir. Not really overpowering, but it is a very nice smoke smell. I'm guessing here, like I've never done this before, but I'm just going to say, judging by the amount of meat I got in there, I don't know, I'm going to take like a tablespoon, that's a little bit more than a tablespoon of the smoky fat, and put it in there. You can use that. I've used this on toast. You know what, if you're using cream cheese or something on your toast or butter, you can just as well use smoky fat. It's actually pretty good. Okay, so I'll set that aside.